Howdy, gang. By the time I finish this video, I'm probably going to be saying good evening, so I'll start there, even though it's about 11 o'clock in the morning. so, but uh, 36 hours ago, we had snow on the ground. Now it's going to be mid-60s today, so not too bad. But that means it's time to get some of this stuff out in the garden, and wanted to bring you along for the ride here. So first and foremost is what happened to my peas with all of this. We got down to 11.8 degrees Fahrenheit, so a good 20 degrees below freezing here. And I covered them with about 6 inches of hay, and then I put a plastic tarp over it, pinned it down, and everything like that. So looks like, if you take a gander there, it looks like they made it. So they actually look pretty good. I took that all off, all the plastic and the hay off yesterday. As soon as it warmed up, I watered them right away to kind of wake them up. And so I'm just coming out right now to see how they made it over day one. They look okay. So maybe it stunted them. I don't know. We'll see. But at least at this point, I know I don't have to redo it. So, all right, let's get on to the next garden, and I'll show you what we're doing today. Okay, so now I'm back here at garden number 3, as we call it, okay, just so we can figure out what we're talking. It's like which garden. And in this one, what we can plant this early, what's according to my garden plan, are cabbage and onions, okay? So a nice haul there of our seedlings that we grew of our cabbage, so they look pretty good there. I'm not going to complain. But if you look down on the end, I did tell you guys I was a complete failure this year at growing my onions from seed, so I did order a bunch from Dixondale Farms, and so that's what I've got going on there. Now, the other thing is, this garden is entirely covered with row cover. And reason being is, now that I've got a decent base of soil under it, I want to be able to keep the weeds down, keep the work down. Okay? But that does come with a couple of challenges in itself. First one, obviously, is paying for the row cover. But all right, it is what it is, Now, what I need to do for these is I need to burn holes, not cut, okay? Get yourself one of these little Burn-Zomatic torches. You can get them at Walmart. I mean, they're real easy. There you go. But you want to burn holes. Any cuts or anything like that you make with this tarp, you want to do with a fire of some sort. For the simple reason is if you just cut it, it will all fray. So, going back to the military days, burning the strings off your uniform, your boot laces or whatever, if the little plastic tip comes off, melt it. It's plastic, close it down, you're good, and it won't fray apart. Now, cabbages need to be about 2 feet apart because y'all know the plant itself gets rather big. I mean, the head may only be a 16-inch softball, but the plants will get to be easy 2 feet, 2.5 feet across. So my first step will be to burn, in my case, 22 holes because I have 22 heads of cabbage to plant. So let me do that, and I'll be back shortly. All right, mission accomplished. Took me about 5 minutes to do that. Not a big deal. I wound up with 10 holes in each row, not 11, so I've got a couple extra holes, but you can see basically what I have, just nice burned out holes. And I know the question that's going to come up, and I want to bring this one up, is, okay, now that I have row cover on there, how do I fertilize? Okay, now if you remember a couple of weeks back, I had said to go out and spread your homemade fertilizer, or if you don't have enough, like of course I didn't have enough, I spread 10-10-10 out here a couple of weeks ago and let it work its way down in the soil with the rains and the snow and everything like that. So the ground is now fertilized. I reran my soil tests. I got everything up to at least adequate. But I will be, of course, fertilizing more throughout the season. And but with the row cover on, the only kind of fertilizer I can use is liquid. So next step is to plant these cabbage, and I really don't think I have to show you guys how to dig a hole and put it in, so I will be back after I do all that. All right, so cabbage, as you can see, that is all done there. So now the next step is onions. And in this row, I've got 40 onions that are going to go in. I put onions in every bed. You guys have asked me quite a bit on keeping away the critters. If I've got onions or garlic in the bed, that smell is usually pretty good to keep them away for some distance. And then marigolds in other spots works well. So I'll put marigolds on the corners, and then this is pretty much in the center of the bed. Now, again, same thing with fertilizer here, is that onions require a different fertilizer than cabbage or anything else. So we've got to go in different directions here. Now, the 10-10-10 is in the whole garden. You need to get that down for everything, okay? But onions, being a root vegetable, need phosphorus. So if you remember this is the bone meal we made. Now, I used a bunch of it on the other garden. I'm not going to have enough, so I'm going to supplement with some Job's organic bone meal. I'm not overly concerned about being organic. I'm more concerned about growing food. But I got this 2 years ago at a clearance sale from Walmart, for $1 a bag in fall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a pinch of bone meal in each of these holes as I'm growing them. The reason why you want to do this is there's 2 stages to onions. The first is the green growth, and that's where it's going to need a lot of nitrogen. Then once it starts setting up its bulb, you don't want to be fertilizing with nitrogen anymore, because you're not trying for any more green growth for it to photosynthesize. You want it to bulb, and that's where it needs that phosphorus in there. So if by putting it in now, we're basically solving any problems later of trying to worry about trying to get it around whatever's already grown. So that's my next step, and I will be back. All right, cabbage in, onions in, and of course we're hitting it with some nitrogen fertilizer, and you guys know what my favorite my liquid nitrogen fertilizer is, but there's my little contraption right there for running the fertilizer through the sprinkler. Off to the next bed, where I think we have onions and radishes going in that one. All right, guys, so on to the next one. Remember those toilet paper seed tapes we made? This is doing radishes real quick. So let me flip this over, and there you will see we're going to put in 2 rows of radishes right there. Fill your trench, not fill, but cover your trench with some bone meal, because again, we're talking a root crop. Lay out your seed tapes, literally water them in. That'll hold them down. If you want to cover them with a real light cover of dirt, you can, but that's how simple these are. All right, moving on along. All right, as the day rolls on, we have now got the beets and spinach done. I'll show you. So obviously they're seed tapes, the toilet paper seed tapes that we made a month or so back. 5 rows of beets, 1 row of spinach, and that should do us for that. Now, because again, the beets are a root crop, before you put these down, make sure you're spreading bone meal underneath so you get good roots and obviously good beets out of it. You know, you want that phosphorus in there. So that made it for what? Somewhere between 250 and 300 onions today, probably 300 beets, 20 cabbage, 40 spinach. Yeah, I'd say it was a good day. But that's March 15th planting in Tennessee, guys. Probably put some dirt over the top of these beets and spinach here. And I think Mrs. P earned a hamburger tonight. So that'll be the day. We'll see you tonight. Pinball out.